In this video, we are going to look at a couple examples of application problems that involve the perimeter of a rectangle. So remember, when you're working with perimeter, you're basically just adding up all the sides of whatever shape you're working with. In this case, we're going to be looking at the sides of a rectangle. So problem 3 states that the perimeter of a rectangle is 228 inches. The length is 6 more than twice the width. Find the dimensions. So first of all, let's just talk about the perimeter formula. If I were to take a rectangle and were to label the sides W for my widths and L for my lengths, and I know that if I were to add these up to get the perimeter, it would look like this, that my perimeter is equal to, starting here at this top length, I would have an L moving on to this W plus W plus the next L plus the last W. And then if I were to combine like terms, we have 2 L's and we have 2 W's. So this is our perimeter formula. Now when you're solving these problems that involve the perimeter of a rectangle, you are more than welcome to use the formula. I will tell you that I usually draw a picture, you'll see, and I combine like terms that way. So let's go ahead and start this problem that we have. Number 3. The perimeter of a rectangle is 228 inches. The length is 6 more than twice the width. Find the dimensions. So one thing that we're going to do is we're going to set up a linear equation to solve this problem. And when we set up this linear equation, we're only allowed to use one variable. So if I were to draw a new rectangle, and I know for this problem that my perimeter is equal to 228 inches, and my width, I have a width that I'm trying to find and a length that I'm trying to find. But I can only use one variable. So how do I know which one to use? So let's go back and read the second sentence in the problem. The length is 6 more than twice the width. The last side that's mentioned is my important side. It says the width. That means I'm comparing the length to the width. So that means the width gets to be itself. So I'm going to let width be W. And that means that my length, I'm not going to use an L for length, I'm going to use something with a W. So what do I know about the length? It says length is, so is can be translated into equal sign, 6 more than twice the width. So I would encourage you to start with twice the width part. Twice the width, our width is W, so twice the width means 2W. More than means to add, and then we're going to add 6. So my width is W, and my length is 2W plus 6. So you can put that into the formula, or if you're very visual, you might want to do it the way I like to do it. I'm going to label my sides. I have 2 W's, and then I have two lengths that are translated into 2W plus 6. And now I can find the perimeter by adding up all the sides, which in this case means combining like terms. So I have 2 W's plus another makes 3 W's, plus 2 more makes 5 W's, plus another one makes 6 W. So I have 6 W's, and then 6 plus 6 is 12, equals 228. So there is my linear equation. I can get the same result by plugging in those sides into my formula. Now I'll just solve for W. So I'll subtract 12 from both sides. So I get 6W is equal to 216. And then when I divide by 6, I find out that W is equal to 36. So now I know that my width has a side, or my width is equal to 36, and I'm talking about inches, so my width is 36 inches. But now I need to know what my length is. So I'm going to take out the W that's right here, and I'm going to replace it with its value. So it's going to be 2 times 36 plus 6, which means that my length is going to be 72 plus 6, which means my length is 78 inches. So now I know my dimensions, 36 by 78. And I can just leave it like this if I want. I don't have to write it as 36 by 78. Problem number 4. A rectangle has a length that is 4 less than the width. The perimeter is 112 feet. Find the dimensions of the rectangle. Okay, so starting out before, we know that we have a perimeter that we need to find the information for. We have a length and we have a width. So we're given the perimeter, which is 112 feet, so I'm going to fill that in. And then I have a length and a width. Remember, I only get to use one variable, so I have to choose, do I want to use L's or W's? So let's go back to our first sentence where it says a rectangle has a length that is 4 less than the width. Again, width is mentioned at the end of the sentence, so my width will get to be W. Now, it's not always mentioned at the end of the sentence. Sometimes it's the length, but whatever is mentioned second gets to be your variable that you'll use, or the letter that you'll use. So now let's figure out, what do we know about our length? It says the length is, now this is the tricky part, 4 less than the width. This phrase, less than, is what I often call a flip phrase. So I always have to start at the end when you have a flip phrase. I can't translate in order. It is not 4 minus W. It's saying 4 less than the width. So I have to start with my width, which is W, and then I have to take 4 away, which means minus 4. So now I have enough information that if I wanted to draw the picture of my rectangle, I'd have 2 sides that are W and 2 sides that are W minus 4. And now I can combine like terms and make my equation. So let's count our W's. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 W's minus 4 makes minus 8 is equal to 112. So now when I add 8 to both sides, I get 4W is equal to 120. And when I divide by 4, I find out that my width is equal to 30. So my width is equal to 30 feet. And then when I replace this W that's part of my length expression with 4, so 30 take away 4 equals 26. So my rectangle is 26 feet by 30 feet. So again, what you need to remember is look out for phrases that are like less than or subtracted from. These are the flip phrases. Less than is really the one that you would see in these application problems. But another way to look at it is just to always start with the variable piece and translate in that order, starting with the variable. So starting with the side that you're trying to find out, the width or the length.